Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. This is the weekly update for the channel for Star Wars Unlimited. This is the week of March 11th, and this is release week. Officially set for Jump to Lightspeed has been released. March 14th is the official release date, and everybody is able to buy product now. Most people have received their things already in the mail. I'm still waiting on my pre-orders to come in, but that's another story for a different time. But this week there wasn't much activity in terms of like the game itself. We already seen a lot of cards, all the cards spoiled. We've seen a lot of gameplay, and if you go on Reddit and different sources online, you'll be able to see a lot of people opening up packs and basically doing a lot of pre-release tournaments. I personally went to 3 pre-release tournaments, and it was a lot of fun getting to know a lot of the new leaders and the new decks. It was definitely a good time. Now, some of the news that we have basically just came from their live stream on Wednesday. Their live stream was basically premiere gameplay. We had them playing Poe Yellow, Leia Red, and Piet Red. A lot of aggression decks, and before they started their actual premiere gameplay, which was pretty entertaining, they actually gave some news updates about some of the tournament regulations and some of the rules. So let's get into that now, and let's just go over some of the updates for tournaments and some of the updates for the events that they host. So we have here this document, the Star Wars Unlimited Tournament Regulations. And let's just look at real quick some of the updates that they made to the tournament regulations, marked in blue. Not going to necessarily read all of it. I mean, this is available for anyone to download from their website. So quickly looking here, we have some intentional draws updates. We have some reporting match results updates. And let's just go look through this document here and just go get what the updates are. All right, so the first actual change comes here, or change or addition or clarification, is whatever you might want to call it, comes with the draft play. Draft play, something they highlighted here is that each player opens 3 booster packs and takes out the leader cards, keeping the remaining cards of each pack in separate stacks. So they want to highlight here this asterisk in blue, and basically it says, note, booster packs being used for draft are not owned by an individual player. A card is owned by a player once that player picks the card from the current pack or a selection of leaders. So just because you have a pack doesn't mean you own it. What you do own is the card you select. And then once you select that card in draft, you hand it over to another player, and then basically that stack belongs to them now, and they can choose whatever card they want. Something they want to clarify there, because in draft you're essentially just choosing one card and passing it on. The card you picked is the one you own. So it's good if, like, in your first pack, or if you're the first one to choose something from your pack, you get a legendary or you get a showcase. Congratulations, you're the first one to get that card and you own it. Also, they mentioned here, when drafting, players should be mindful of how many cards are in each pack they look at and how many cards they pass to the next player. This ensures that all players receive the appropriate number of cards in each pack. This is something that can be challenging, especially for new players, because sometimes it can get a little confusing, like what direction to go to, what cards to keep, and sometimes you're left with like odd numbers. Each player has like, oh, I only have 12, I only have 13, I only have 14. So keeping track of like how many cards you have in each pack will definitely help everyone. Basically, at the end of pack 1, you're supposed to have 14 cards, and then 28, and then basically at the end you'll have your number that you're supposed to have. But yeah, that can be confusing sometimes, especially with new players. And it also says, when drafting, players should follow a 3-zone system. Only 1 pack of cards should ever be in each of these zones. Zone 1 is the pack in the player's hand that they are currently picking from, and I'll show this in a little bit. Zone 2 is the pack that they are passing to the next player, and Zone 3 is the next pack of cards being passed to them. So just to give an example, basically what it's saying is that you have 3 zones. The first zone is the pack that you're currently picking from, which is the one in your hand. Zone 2 is the pack that you're gonna pass over to your next player. That's right here. And then zone 3 is the pack of cards that is being passed to you, which would be this one from the next player that you have on your side. So these are the 3 zones where you should have be picking from, or in other words, have control of it, because sometimes what happens is whenever you're passing on a pack to another player and the other player is not ready, well, now in this zone you have 2 packs waiting, and then you can get the other pack from the other zone and start grabbing from there. And now in zone 2 you basically have 2 stacks waiting, and it can get a little confusing which pack they're supposed to be grabbing from. So it's good to have that control in draft. That way things don't get confusing and you're able to kind of just keep control of what stacks you're supposed to be grabbing from. It's a good way to keep things organized. Alright, so the next change comes here on the section of note taking. They did mention this on the stream briefly, but the change they made here was with electronic devices. They may be used for taking notes as long as the following conditions are met. Messages cannot be received during the game. For example, the device should be in airplane mode or have no ability to connect to the internet. The device's screen must stay visible to both players for the entirety of the game. So if you like taking notes in your tournaments, electronic devices were not allowed, but now they're allowed with these stipulations to be followed. Alright, the next change comes here on single match resolution. Now it says here, if neither player has managed to win by the end of the last action phase, then neither player has won the game and the match ends in a draw. So this is a change because whenever you would lose a game, both players would lose and both players would take a loss for the game. This is a change that they both end in a draw. And that's actually a good change, because you'll see here in a little bit what a draw means for both players. So this is definitely a great change for tournaments, you know, any kind of casual tournament or one of the bigger tournaments. So the next big change comes here on section 4.4, intentional draws. Swiss rounds only, intentional draws. So this says draws, otherwise known as ties, are a natural part of the game and can be a possible resolution when playing in the Swiss rounds of a tournament. Before playing any games of a match, if both players mutually wish to have that match end in a draw, they may do so. This is referred to as an intentional draw. The match immediately ends and is reported as a draw for both players. So if you decide with your opponent that you don't want to do this round and you just both want to take a draw, you can do it. And it says here, intentional draws are only permitted during Swiss rounds. It can only occur if both players agree to draw. If either player does not wish to intentionally draw, then the match must proceed as normal. So both have to agree, not just one. Now, if one wants to intentionally draw and the other one doesn't, then there's a solution for this. It says players cannot intentionally draw after setting up the first game match. As soon as the player draws their opening hand before any mulligans, the match must proceed normally from that point on. Players cannot offer or accept an intentional draw or concession in exchange for any reward or incentive. Doing so falls under the bribery or collusion, which is covered in this part of the document. So, yeah, if once you start drawing, you can't intentionally draw anymore, or yeah, you can't do it. You can't just be like, I give up. You have to do it before in order for you to get that draw for both of you. And you'll see why in a little bit why the drawing matters. As a reminder, players are permitted to concede a game at any time before the end of the game. So if one player decides, I want to play, the other one says, I want to draw, well, it's not an agreement, so you have to play. But the player who didn't want to play that round could concede and take a loss for that game if you wanted to do so. But both parties have to agree to do the intentional draw. Then we have here section 4.5, regarding deck lists. In a competitive tier event, before the start of each match of the top cut elimination rounds, players exchange deck lists with their opponent. Players have 3 minutes to review their opponent's deck list. So you're able to see their deck list before the start of each game, not during. It says, note, players are not permitted to take notes during this deck list review, as the review takes place prior to the match starting. So you can just look at their deck list, but cannot take notes. Well, written notes. You can take mental notes. The next one comes here on 4.5.2, sideboard and deck changes. Let's just read the note here. As long as no game actions have been taken, the first game of a match should always be started before players are permitted to utilize their sideboards. For example, if a player earns a game loss penalty before the match begins, players are not permitted to utilize their sideboards going into game 2, since game 2 will be the first game played. So you're not allowed to use your sideboards for the first game. If the person decided to take a loss for game 1, they cannot use a mulligan in game 2 because that will be their first game technically. The other part here is in 5.6 with tiebreakers. The first section says player tournament match points. The number of points a player has earned through their matches. Remember, a win equals 3 points, a draw equals 1 point, and a loss equals 0 points. So there's the benefit of drawing. You will get a point for drawing. So if both players intentionally draw, then both of them will get a point for that tournament. But if you lose or you concede, you'll get 0 points. So it might be beneficial if you feel like, okay, well, I think I'm gonna lose this match, and the other player agrees, then you both take a point for drawing. But most likely a player might want to get those 3 points for winning, because he might know that he will benefit more by playing you than just taking 1 point of drawing. So the next part here is in 5.7, which is reporting match results. This was another addition. It says at the end of each match, it is both players' responsibility to ensure an accurate match result has been reported to the scorekeeper. This is done through various means, such as reporting using the tournament software on your mobile device, or manually filling out a match slip. At casual tier events, it may be even acceptable to just tell the scorekeeper directly. So you basically says that you have to report your score, either doing it by yourself, and they use melee.gg to keep score. So you could do it yourself on a phone, or filling out a match slip, or just letting the scorekeeper know directly. If a match result is reported incorrectly, the following actions should be taken. If the incorrect match result is discovered before the next round begins, the match result should be fixed within the tournament software. So that happens sometimes, but that can be fixed pretty easily. If the incorrect match result is discovered after the next round was paired, but before the round has started, the match result should be fixed within the tournament software, and the affected matches should be paired again. So this has happened a few times with me at a few events, but you're paired up, you're ready to go, and then the tournament organizer would say, "Oh no, we gotta reassign everybody. We gotta do it again." The third point says if the incorrect match result is discovered during a round that has already started, the match result should be fixed, but players will complete the round against their current opponent. So if it's too late, it's too late. Once it started, and then basically they'll have to figure out what to do next round, right? The software will figure it out, I think, after it started. But yeah, this is the next update here, reporting match results. The next one comes here with 6.2, judge proxies. The change here, it says a judge proxy may only be issued by a head judge or a floor judge with the head judge's approval. So the judge proxies, I think they give out cards that either are very defective, but either way they can be done by the head judge or the floor judge with the head judge's approval. So both have the authority to give out judge proxies. The next update comes here with 6.3, counterfeit cards. I've seen a few of these here, but not counterfeit cards. I've kind of seen like fan-made cards, like pretend showcase cards, and they look pretty nice. But either way, it says counterfeit cards cannot be used as your leader or base, and are also not permitted in your main deck or sideboard in an official tournament. So you cannot take these to sector or regionals. You cannot take these fake cards, but official tournaments. Even if a player owns an official copy of the card, they cannot include counterfeit cards as their leader, base, or the main deck sideboard. So you have to have the official card. If a judge determines that a player is knowingly playing counterfeit cards, this is considered a form of cheating. If a player is unknowingly playing with counterfeit cards, this is considered a deck list error. So if you know you're playing with counterfeits, you're cheating. If you had no idea and you got bamboozled, then it's just a deck list error. And then you'll get some kind of penalty for that also that we'll see in the next document. So these are the changes or the updates to this document. This document is the Star Wars Unlimited Tournament Regulations, last updated March 14th, 2025. The next document is the Final Fantasy Games Master Event document. And then again, the notable changes will be in blue. So let's go ahead and look up those updates now. So the first update comes up here with minor unsupporting conduct, inappropriate behavior. We had a little issue here a few months back with, inappropriate behavior with the player, and yeah, that's a whole different thing. But if you look at, if you take a look at Veilshot's video when it came to that whole thing that happened, it's a good breakdown, and he gives a pretty good idea of what happened in that tournament. But either way, the update here is point 3. A player. So the following are some examples of inappropriate behavior that fall under minor unsupporting conduct. The third point is a player requests outside assistance from a spectator. So if you're asking your buddy for help, or a spectator provides unsolicited outside assistance for a player. So your buddy yelling at you, "Don't play that card." That is minor unsupporting conduct. The next update comes here under the bribery and collusion section. Under collusion, there's a note that says, "The act of dividing prizes between one or more players, often referred to as prize splitting, is considered a form of collusion and therefore is not acceptable at any level of organized play event." So you cannot tell your buddy, "Hey man, if you do this, I'll give you some of this." That's collusion. So that's an update to that section. So the next part of the update was this part, the time extensions update. So it says here, whenever a disruption occurs, regardless if it is a gameplay disruption, an event disruption, or even just a routine deck check, the subsequent judge involvement can take time away from the players to complete their match. Because of this, the judge resolving the issue should bestow a time extension to the players, with the exact form of extension depending on the situation at hand. So it gives the 3 situations here. First is gameplay disruptions. All gameplay disruptions should be giving a 1-to-1 time extension, rounded up to the nearest minute. Next one is event disruptions. Only the following event disruptions warrant a time extension. So one is tardiness. If a player arrives 1 to 5 minutes late and the game loss has not been given, the match should be given a 1-to-1 time extension, rounded up to the nearest minute. And unfortunately, you do get penalized for being tardy, and we'll see that in a minute. Also, the next point of tardiness, if a player arrives 6 to 10 minutes late and a game loss has been given for game 1, the match should be given a 1-to-1 time extension, rounded up to the nearest minute. So 1 to 5 minutes, they give you a 5-minute grace period. 6 to 10, you take the game loss. But then for the next game, you're given a 1-to-1 time extension. That's not good, right? If you're tardy, it could affect you big time. Next is slow play. This is an event disruption. Slow play. If a player earns a penalty for unintentional slow play, the match should be given a 1-to-1 time extension, rounded up to the nearest minute. And then the next part is reminder. Intentional slow play is considered stalling, which is a form of cheating. As such, the offending player should be disqualified, and thus the match does not warrant a time extension. So don't stall. Don't be stalling all the time, because then they can call you out on that. Next is deck checks. Whenever a judge performs a deck check, the match should be given a 1-to-1 time extension, rounded up to the nearest minute, plus an additional 3 minutes to allow players to set up for the game. So that's usually, normal stuff there. But they did give a nice clear like guidelines for time extensions and when to start things and when to give penalties. So some of the changes here when it comes to infractions. The first one is flagged gameplay error. A player indicates a gameplay mistake was made by their opponent, and it only takes the judge a minute or two to correct the error. For that, you get a tracking penalty, which is no points. The only reason they do that is here. This is mainly to be used as a tracking system. It is up to the judge to determine if this is malicious behavior. So a way to solve the issue that happened a few months ago, you're not going to get penalized for checking gameplay errors. But if you do it over and over again, it says it is up to the judge to determine if it is malicious behavior. Once it's determined if it's malicious behavior, then the judge can decide to do other things and give penalty points. The next point here, minor gameplay error. A simple honest gameplay mistake was made and it only takes the judge a minute or two to identify the error. You get a warning penalty, which is 1 point. But the point here is if a ruling for this level of penalty takes more than 3 minutes to correct the error, consider escalating the penalty points to an escalated penalty point value, which means that if it takes longer, they can give you 2 penalty points. Next is if a ruling of this level, the intermediate gameplay error, if a ruling of this level of penalty takes more than 5 minutes to correct the error, consider escalating the penalty points to a severe penalty point value, which will be 4 penalty points. So if a lot of errors take a lot of time to determine and figure out what's the best thing to do, giving more time and spending more time is just going to penalize more and more. So the judge will definitely have to determine when to escalate these matters. And if you keep looking at some of the penalties here, once you reach, you have a lot of disqualifications here, but once you reach 10 points of penalties, you are disqualified. So here it is, too many point penalties. The player that has 10 or more penalty points throughout the event is disqualification. Warning penalties are worth 1 point, escalated 2 points, severe 4, extreme 8. So you get too many points, you're getting disqualified immediately. Just as a way to manage and hopefully control all the disruptions in the game. And yeah, but anyways, those are the updates for the tournaments and the rules and regulations. So I know it's a lot of reading and a lot of just me reading the rules and listening to a lot of the updates, and but these are the updates that they gave this week, and it's interesting because we're gonna have pretty soon sectors, regionals, and we're gonna have the Galactic in the summer. So there's a lot of events coming up, and clarifying all these things is definitely good. And it's nice to kind of get an idea of what's expected for players, especially in tournaments that are high stakes. Now let's do a little bit of pack opening. So I wanted to open up these packs. It might be a lot, right? We have one from every set. We have Spark, Shadows, Twilight, Jump to Lightspeed, a Jump to Lightspeed Carbonite pack, and the 2 weekly promos that I got going to a pre-release this week. So let's do this. Let's have a little fun opening packs. Alright, so let's start with Spark of Rebellion. I'm moving my mic over here to kind of make it easier. Spark of Rebellion. Let's see if we get anything strong here. We got Grand Admiral Thrawn, Capital City. Got our comments here. Cargo Juggernaut. Let's go through these quickly. Our commons, no hyperspace commons. We got an uncommon ATST suppressor, Wing Leader, Shoot First, and Admiral Akbar. Admiral Akbar probably be nice to have right in your Rebel deck with the new space units. And we have a Scouting Bike Pursuer foil. All right, nothing too impactful in that pack. Let's go to the next set. Set number 2, Shadows of the Galaxy. Let's get another Poe Dameron. And we have Phoenix Shand as our leader. Remote Village. Let's go through our commons here. Warzone Lieutenant, Fugitive Wookiee. Alright. There's no hyperspace in those commons. We got Remnant Reserves. This is the Way. Concord Dawn Interceptors. A Dr. Avazan rare. Then an uncommon foil jetpack. Second time I open a Dr. Avazan on the videos here. Let's go to the third set. Twilight of the Republic. Let's see what we get here. Count Dooku. Alright. No showcases with these packs. Go through our comments here. No hyperspace commons. We got a Duchess's Champion. Clone Cohort. Then our got Hu Yang as our rare. And then, oh nice. We have a foil Shadow Collective Camp. This is the first time I drew a foil Shadow Collective Camp. Nice, that's good. All right, let's go to the new set, Jump to Lightspeed. I got this as a prize from one of the pre-releases. So this was a prize pack. Ready? We have a Grand Admiral Thrawn. We got a Hyperspace Chopper Base, which is a reprint from set 1. Alright, so let's go through our comments here. Barrel Roll, Hopeful Volunteer, X-34, Spacer, Insurgent, Landing Shuttle. I'm going a little slower because it is the new set. Kajimi Patrollers, Twin Laser Turret, Perimeter ATRT, Fly Casual, so no hyperspaces in those commons. Fly Casual Uncommon, Dengar Uncommon, another Fly Casual, but hyperspace this time. You just kind of look at the difference there. Very similar because of the black background there. And then what is our next card? Legendary maybe? Oh, nice. Let's make this a Legendary Executor. Let's see. Oh, nice. Yes, that's what we wanted, right? Well, that's what I wanted. A Legendary Executor. Hopefully I'll be able to make a Piet deck. Oh, and we have a Hyperfoil Air Superiority. Very shiny. That was a good pack. Alright, so we have the Carbonite pack. We'll save this one for last. We'll open up our weekly play boosters here to see what cool things we get. This is the first time I'm opening these. Some people at the store call them Pop-Tarts because they look like the Pop-Tart packaging. I need to use my teeth. Alright, so we have a guaranteed foil. So the people that opened up the packs in the store, actually they pulled a legendary Han Solo foil, which is a nice pull. Alright, so we have here Red Squadron Y-Wing, a uncommon Poe Dameron, and then what is our next one? It's the same one, isn't it? Yeah, it's the same one. We got the foil version of the Red Squadron Y-Wing. Let's take a look at the comparison there. Alright, that's the first pack. So we have one of each now. Now let's open up the second pack. I'm going to use my teeth. Alright, next pack, OP pack. General Hux, uncommon. A Swarming Vulture Droid, alt art. And what do we have next? A Red Squadron Y-Wing. Oh no, we got a duplicate here, which is fine. We can use for trading for other cards that we can add to the collection. All right, no legendaries or rares in those packs. Now we go to the big one, the Carbonite booster pack. This is the first time I'm opening up one of these booster packs, so you know, excuse if I go slower than usual, because I'm going to be admiring these cards, and you know, we'll see if we get anything serialized, showcase, foil, prestige. Those are the 3 cards that we're looking for. So no showcase, but we got it. Admiral, Holdo, Hyperspace. No showcase. Ooh, missed out on that one. Then we have, I think, 7 foils next. We have Techno Union Transport, Out of the Airlock, Twin Laser Turret, Decimator of Dissidents. That's 3 so far. 4 I Have You Now, that's our 5th one. Our 6th foil is a rare Rampart. Our 7th foil, ooh, nice, Planetary Bombardment is our 7th foil. Now the next one, I forget what it is, but let's just find out. Nice, our first prestige. It's a rare Radis, no foil, but we have that's the first prestige, rare Radis. Cool. Our next card is, I think, hyperspaces, like I think 3 or 4 hyperspaces. First Order TIE Fighter, Techno Union Transport, so we have the foil and the hyperspace in this pack. A hyperspace blue leader, looks nice, really nice. Hyperspace Hera Syndulla, and I don't know what comes next. Okay, so we have 5 hyperspaces. In Depth to Crimson Dawn. Now I'm not sure what the next one is. A hyperfoil, 2 hyperfoils, that's what they said. Tandem Assault, common. And our next hyperfoil is a Wingman Victor 2 hyperfoil. Nice. Alright, so I would say that this pack of the Carbonite edition was, compared to other ones, wasn't like the best pack. There's our prestige there. It's a rare Radis. Can you say that 5 times fast? Rare Radis. Cool. But we got some cool hyperspace foils and some nice hyperspaces. But yeah, that's the first Carbonite pack opening for this channel and for me personally. Waiting on a Carbonite booster box. Hopefully they'll come next week and we'll open that up as well. So anyways, that's the update for the week of March 11th. We'll come up with another update video next week. I appreciate everyone for watching and subscribing and sticking to the end basically and watching these videos. I know I'll probably talk a lot, but I appreciate everyone. Thanks for watching. Until the next one.